Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third recording of the first episode of the Joe Show. The first recording was practice. The second recording, there was no recording. Talked for 17 minutes and didn't record a thing. And here we are now on the third episode. All of this is just to get used to podcasting, get used to the microphone, get used to recording. And the title, The Joe Show, is not yet permanent, could be adjusted, ask for some suggestions, and still toying around with a few options with that one. But a couple things that I want to discuss and go over in this first episode is how this podcast came to be, um, and what you can expect in the future, and then just a quick review and recap of the episode. Now, Uh, you can see loosely here a book titled Grit. Now, in uh, reading this book, it's got me really thinking about my passions and really what I'd like to do in life in general to align with those passions. Now, uh, I've talked about and thrown around doing a podcast for a while, and um, last week I was at a movie with some friends, my friend Josh and his wife Allie, and after the movie, we had gone to get ice cream at Cold Stone. And while we were sitting there, ice cream, I told them about the idea that I had. Hey, I want to do a podcast, and I mentioned that I had all of the items, the microphones, the cables, the mixer board, and all of that in my shopping cart on Amazon, but I hadn't yet purchased it yet, and it was funny because Allie was like, it was almost just so casual, but she said, "Well, why don't you just buy it?" And during our conversation, I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know yet um, if I want to, actually make the commitment." I guess is what I was thinking in my mind to do it. But after we left, it was on my mind, and when I got home, I was like, "You just need to do it." Like Ellie said, just push the button and buy it. So, like, almost at midnight, pushed the buy option on Amazon, texted Josh and said, "Hey, thank Allie for giving me the motivation to purchase the equipment." And now here we are. Um, and so I mentioned the book Grit. Now, I've tried to make it a goal to read more often. I'm still trying to get through this book. I say still, it's probably taken me about a month and a half, and it's not that long. But I'm trying to make it part of my daily routine and habit. But as I've gone through and read, there's a chapter in here that Angela Duckworth, the author, talks about a life philosophy. And in having a life philosophy, everything that we do throughout our day aligns with that philosophy. From getting up into the morning, any morning rituals or things that we have should align with accomplishing overall vision or mission that we have, you can say, for our lives. Now, Angela's life philosophy is to use psychological science to help kids thrive. And this book, Grit, talks about talent and the gap in between successful people and talented people and those who just never give up, where grit comes in. That despite any obstacles or challenges, good times, bad times, that they keep going. And she just dives in to see, what makes a person gritty, how we can develop it if we aren't gritty and we'd like to be, and different things. So I've really enjoyed this book. And it's got me think, what's my life philosophy? As I've tried to align what I'd like to do in life with my passions and areas of interest. And that's where this podcast comes in. I'm very passionate about people and people experiences. I thrive in making connections and interactions with different different individuals and different people. And I hope that this podcast will be a way that I can further unite with people who have an awesome story to share and to motivate, to uplift, and to enrich one another's lives. Now, what you can expect from this podcast, and it actually is going to be more of a vlogcast. I don't know if that's actually a thing, but a video podcast. I'm going to record it, put the videos out on YouTube, and I may essentially put those out as well on a podcast as well, so that you can listen to them and you don't really have to watch them. But first, I'm going to start off as a vlogcast. But I want to incorporate some of my stories, some of my life. A lot of you haven't heard my story, and I want to share it with others because there have been some high points and a lot of low points, and just want to share so that most importantly that I've come to learn and to figure out is that while we are all so different, we're very similar in a sense that we all go through trials, troubling times, and difficult times. And while mine may not be relatable exactly to yours, I want to give you that motivation and inspiration to keep going, to not give up. And in with my passion of interacting and connecting with people, I want to invite others onto the show to share your stories again, to build those common grounds, bridges, and to show that while we are very different, we're very similar. And something that I say hopefully will um, help some people, and hopefully other things that people share can help different individuals as well. Uh, Also, what I'd like to do is to incorporate some of my life passions, and those are wellness oriented and related. I say wellness because they're not just fitness; they're for well being. I do enjoy lifting weights. I do enjoy nutrition, eating clean, and even not eating clean. One of my favorite activities to do over the weekend is to eat bad food and try restaurants that I enjoy, that I already know, favorite spots. And also, in addition to those, just being active in general, I enjoy the outdoors and enjoy being outside. And I want to share some of those as not only just discussing, who I am, but again, hopefully using this as a platform to be able to motivate and inspire different individuals as I've been motivated and inspired. As part of my routine, I enjoy working out at the start of my day. Uh, Now, I have gotten bad about getting up exactly at 6 in the morning and going to the gym. Sometimes I may get there at 6:45. Sometimes I get there at 7. But nevertheless, I'm always there in the morning to work out. And during this time, I try to listen to a YouTube motivational video. Um, I started this back in January, and now here we are in June, and it's continued. And I noticed that it greatly uh, enhances my day by watching these and listening to speakers like Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, um, and even Joel Osteen, uh, and listening to their inspiring words. And so I want to be able to use this as a platform to create that content for others as well, whether sharing things that great motivators have already stated, or sharing something that has just come to light for me. Now, most importantly, what I want to do with this is again make it a platform, but a platform for action. A couple of weeks ago, I put my thoughts on Facebook, as I so often do. This one was a little bit more controversial because it related to the hot topic right now of families being torn apart and how families should be together. Um, as part of my story, as a very young youth, I have to imagine, I can't remember exactly. I think I was 5 or 6, but I was taken from the arms of my mother and put into foster care. And as part of what I said on Facebook, hey, where was the outrage with families being separated then? And in the past, a year ago, 2 years ago, while this happens every day here in the United States and not just on the borders. But anyway, it got me to think. A lot of people misunderstood my post, that I wasn't upset about the fact that I was okay with families being torn apart, but more or less the social media activists that were just expressing their anger and their disgust with this, but then a week later, a month later, down the road would just go back to living their normal everyday lives. And so I was speaking out more on the activist side rather than just the hey, let's not get upset about what's going on. But anyway, I thought, hey, I don't want to be one of those people that is just suggesting that things change. I actually want to help change. And so I want to use this podcast as well. With myself, I'll be bringing ways, ideas, resources that we can make a difference um, in the immediate areas that we're in, our communities around us. And those that do come onto the show as well, I'm going to invite them to do the same to help support, whether it be their story, their cause, or whatever it might be. Um, now, I appreciate all of you for listening, especially for those of you who have now, towards the end of this first episode, gotten to the end of this vlogcast. You're great. It's going to be uh, for you who this podcast is for. So, if you do have any questions, any suggestions, and any pointers for me, I'm open to those. Please share those. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, you've got a story to tell and you want to tell it, contact me. I'd be happy to have you on the show to share your story and to again be a cause for action, be a source of motivation and a connection between different individuals in the world today. Now, I mentioned life philosophy. Now, my life philosophy is not fully yet defined. It is something that I'm still working on. While it's just as simple as a statement sentence, I know what it is I would like to do, but not don't have that sentence down yet. It's something that I'll work on. I hope to have that developed and out on a later episode. But here's what I would challenge you to do. If you don't have a life philosophy like I'm doing, give it some thought. Take some time to contemplate and think what it is that surrounds your passion that you'd like to do, that every single thing in your day aligns with this overall philosophy, mission, or goal. And share that with others and be the source of change that you would like to see in this world in bringing about that life philosophy. Again, thank you for listening. Look for future content. The next episode, I'm going to go into my story, and hopefully, within a few episodes, I'll have some guests lined up to be on the show to share their story as well. So, thanks for listening. We'll catch you guys later on the next episode of The Joe Show.